Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. In today's episode of Garden Ramblings, we'll tour the garden. We're into the first week of October. The cold weather has not arrived. It's been cooler, but this week it got into the 80s, which, made the warm weather crops think they could still keep going. First week of October, it's really time to pull out all your warm weather crops. Right in here, I have radishes growing in flower boxes that I made. They're about maybe 6 inches deep. I do this every year, every spring, every fall. You can grow radishes, arugula, spinach, leafy greens in here. They do really well. You don't need a lot of soil. You just have to keep up on the watering. With October rolling in, the leaves are changing on my trees. Sunflowers, leaves are changing. Muscadines, leaves are changing. That's a signal that it's just generally being cool at night. And your warm weather crops may look great. These peppers look great. My tomatoes look really good, but with the 40-degree temperatures coming next week at night, they're just not going to survive. Now, I've been doing a lot of videos on cold frames, low tunnels, plastic, extending the season. That's for the cool weather crops. When you're putting plastic like over this or you're wrapping it, you're doing that for the cool weather crops to prevent the ground from freezing so that they can continue to grow. Remember, the cool weather crops can take a frost. They like the cooler weather. It's not going to do much for pepper plants because at night there's no heat source. Soil temperatures drop with the nighttime temperatures dropping. The ambient temperatures drop with the nighttime temperatures dropping. The plastic isn't doing anything, basically, so don't waste your time. Now's really the time to pick your peppers, pick whatever vegetables you have left that are warm. Process them, store them, freeze them, etc. I'm leaving a lot of peppers on my plants. I'm collecting seeds this year. And you look at these bell peppers and you're like, well, at least I am, but they're beautiful. They're taller. They've been growing well. They did better as the heat of August kind of lessened, but warm enough for them to grow. I'm going to keep these peppers in here, as I've mentioned before, every year. 12 or 14 plants in this 32-inch bed from Vijega. I'm affiliated with them. I highly recommend their metal raised beds if you want to check out the video description. But there's no point in growing something different in here when I'm having so much success growing bell peppers. And they can be a bit of a challenge, but these are huge. These are probably the biggest bell peppers I've grown in years. So I'm going to stick with what's working. As you walk through your garden in October and November, make mental notes. Best to write it down if you're like me, because I forget, of what's been successful, and stick with that. And then, make notes on things you want to change. But where you've sort of mastered growing something, just stick with that plan. The red, what do I want to say? I almost said the raised bed. The red towers, the Rusted Garden red towers are back. Greenstalk Garden is selling them again. It's a limited edition color. They haven't been around for 2 years. Right now there's a sale going on through October 9th. So you can get these at a great discount. I think the 5-tier Rusted Garden red color is only $99. That's like a $40 savings. I'll put all that information in the video description. Love this area. This has been transitioned over to mostly strawberries and flowers. I have one stalk that I'm going to keep open, one vertical plant I'm going to keep open for leafy greens in the fall, in the spring, and then I'll probably grow some peppers in there. But I'm really looking at this space to be flowers and strawberries, and the strawberries are coming back with a vengeance. They're sending out runners. I'm repopulating all the pockets, so this is going to be a great space. Let's walk through here. Right in here I have eggplant, I have peppers. Again, they look great, but at some point you just have to be like, you're out of time. So I'll be harvesting just about every pepper, trying to figure out what to do with them. I'll probably broil them or roast them in some way and just save them. I'm trying to figure out this space too. Growing radishes, spinach, pak choy or bok choy. Those are plants that do really well even with the colder temperatures. They just grow really nicely even when the temperatures are getting into the 40s at night. So really going to try and keep my garden going as long as I can. Maybe not every bed, because I don't want to cover every bed in plastic, but I'm going to be doing a lot of low tunnels. You've seen videos on them, and seeing what I can grow. What happens with tomatoes a lot is, like, this plant's a little bit more beat up, but with the colder nights and stuff, the tomatoes themselves tend to not stay as long on the vine. They get different diseases. As soon as that cool weather comes in, different fungi, leaf spots begin to show up. Peppers always do extremely well in my sunken containers, and those are just containers with half the bottom cut out, sunk halfway into the ground. I do this to conserve resources. I will always grow hot peppers in there, more than I can really use. And you can see how beat up the tomatoes are over here because I'm not taking care of them. Yeah, this is the top to my cold frame I built years ago. Jalapenos doing well. It was a really, really good season overall. I love the vertical towers. This is all filled with leafy greens, and that's one of my favorite things. What I'm going to be doing next year is really focusing on growing what I love, and I'm going to be working on trying to extend the season through the entire summer to be able to grow leafy greens, and that means using shade cloth, changing up watering, keeping the soil cooler. So we'll see how that goes. I even have the watermelons that I've been picking them, eating them. I did a lot of experimentation with melons to figure out where I want to grow them, how many I want to grow, and they're doing well. They're smaller, but they're fully formed. Those are just sitting out because I don't know, I had so many melons I don't need anymore. This one is still on the vine. Gonna let this go until the frost comes. The melons have been absolutely delicious. More greens in here. Setting up stuff for videos. This is where I left off from the last video, so you can see sort of what it looks like behind the scenes. 3 kale plants, making sure that I dust and spray. I do not want to get white flies. Have radishes tucked in there. These were on sale for $2 each at Home Depot last week. Going to be using them to put in the ground, and then plastic would go over them, sort of like what you see there. Just a different way to do it, but that will support plastic so that I can keep growing, you know, lettuces, radishes. I have kohlrabi in here, some arugula, and again more pak choi. Bib lettuce, butter crunch lettuce. I mean, it looks really good. I like, what is that? Oh, look at that mushroom. So I have so many different mushrooms growing through my entire property this year. Maybe it's with the way the temperatures have been, but things that I've never seen before. These are tomatoes that were supposed to go inside for fried green tomatoes, never made it. Zucchini that I don't need. Love the arugula that's growing by itself. One arugula plant gets huge if it has enough space. So when you plant things closer together, you can get more technically, but they don't get as big. And the plants tend to be a little bit hardier. They have more space, but this guy's been getting a lot of water just where it sits, and it's doing well. Tomato beds are all being put to sleep. You can see tomatoes, if you have good eyes, in the back beginning to germinate because the temperatures have been nice. Just really transitioning everything over from this here, warm weather, all the way over to really trying to grow through the winter. The corn may not make it. I don't know if it's going to form well enough. I started this in the middle of July. The corn itself did really well. Maybe I just ran out of time, so I'll try and do the corn probably July 1st at the latest. Of course, June planted corn is wonderful. Pumpkins, powdery mildew, have not been sprayed. I've been looking for a variety to grow, and I'll show you the pumpkin that's growing on there. I'm going to stick with this one. This one, although it's a bit of a mess, it's a dwarf variety, flowering well. There's at least 2 pumpkins on there now. I've seen smaller ones. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. This guy is a Matt's Wild Cherry, which looks very similar to my compost tomatoes on the other side. I'll show you those. This is my favorite cherry tomato. Nice and small, very sweet, very prolific. I'm going to be growing this more. This seeded itself, and you know, it's doing great in there. It has like leaf spot in the middle. That's because the temperatures are cooler, and that's when the leaf spot shows up. I'm not spraying anything. The pumpkin, I just wanted to see how well it does against the powdery mildew, and it does have some resistance, which is wonderful. If we look right down there, look at that massive pumpkin. It's growing every day. It gets bigger and bigger. So there's one there, there's one right down there, there's a third one, which it didn't die off, but there was a third one, I swear. Some smaller ones. These were started really late too. So if I start this, I don't know if I can see the date. Hold on, let's go back. If I put it on there. So this is called Autumn Gold Bush, and they were started on 7/17. So probably some spraying, starting these the first week of July. I'll have plenty of pumpkins for my needs, and I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm gonna maybe be growing these out in my no-dig garden. This is what my garden looks like, you know, when I don't clean it up for show. Some bags of leaf compost, pulling out tomatoes, sunflowers, getting all the beds, as I've been saying, just really either put to sleep or they're going to be used for the cool weather crops. We spin around here. Cowpeas are drying. Cantaloupe started 7:15 or a little bit later. Didn't really work. Beautiful cantaloupe, good variety. This variety, in case you're checking, oh, I didn't write it on there, it just says cantaloupe. But these were started on 8/6. Not enough time. So my cantaloupe, I will have to start at least by July 15th to get that final round. But this variety is pretty good. I have it written down somewhere. Collards in there, again, dusting, spraying, spread out a little bit more. I know that whiteflies are a huge issue, so I'm not putting these like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just trying to keep them in a line. Going to be eating and harvesting from them more often, not give the whiteflies a place to set up and multiply, and I'm going to keep the sprays up. First round of peas are good. I've been harvesting them. Tomato plants are popping up. They look beautiful. I mean, that would be wonderful if it was spring, but they're just not going to make it. You know, the beans are going to stay because I'm collecting the seeds. First round of lettuce, I never really got to transplanting that, but I'll be eating it soon. So I can plant this pretty early in July under the shade of this nectarine tree. So I will keep notes on that too. That's a melon that planted itself. There's one growing, we'll see what happens. We'll go outside of here in a second. But just to give you an idea, this was all filled with sunflowers. Took down the cherry tomato. I have more cherry tomatoes than I need. And I'm going to be planting this up mostly with radishes. I might be trying to build some kind of polycarbonate kind of low tunnel on this. We'll see. The beets are still great. The beets are back there, by the way. Those beets were planted in the spring. Beets can grow through the entire summer, get beat up, stay intact. They don't get woody. The flavor doesn't change. They're just a wonderful crop. Again, the Rusted Garden red color is on sale again, and it'll be around through October. But most importantly, you can save a lot of money if you go there now and pick these up before October 9th, or by October 10th. The sale goes through October 9th. Just, I love the lettuce. That's what I want to grow. It's some of my favorite. It's really, I love to grab the lettuce, come right down, pull out some radish greens, some radishes, and just picking other things that I really enjoy in salads. This is, I don't remember if it's wave 1 or 2 of radishes, but these are planted in a rectangle, 1 to 2 inches apart. Coming in here, I'm planting more in rows, and again, this is just for teaching purposes, to give people ideas of how much they can grow in this space. We have the spinach back there. This is a 4 foot by 8 foot. Peas on that side, peas over on this side. Bunching onions coming up right in there. That's going to be delicious in the salads. Beets, turnips, more spinach, lettuce, I almost said salad, lettuce, carrots, everything that I just really enjoy. And I'll be working my way down through here and really converting everything over. Super hots, I just love growing them. I try and give them away. They're just too hot for me to enjoy. Coming in this space too, I got more going on. Have romaine growing back in there. Got some weeding to do. Beets, like I was saying, these are beets again from spring. I've been eating these regularly. I will get through all those, process them for the winter. The beets here, I'm not going to try and keep through the winter, but I'm going to be growing beets in different places. Going to be putting a low tunnel over them, some plastic over them, trying to grow them more through the winter. Another area of more radishes, dog prints are in there. Tomatoes doing beautifully. They're just not going to make it now with the 40-degree weather coming. I'll leave these growing. I just want to see how these do. But I'll be harvesting the seeds for these to sell. These are the compost tomatoes, which I think are, again, the Matt's Wild Cherries. I'm not sure. Asparagus, just a quick tip. As soon as your asparagus starts browning like that, you can cut it down to the ground. You want this to grow really into September. Let all the greenery bring energy to the roots so that you get a great crop next year. But all this is going to get cut down. The beans survived well. Like the peppermint oil spray really kept the Mexican bean beetle off of them. You know, generally just a good success. But I am looking forward to just getting everything cleared out. Let's go out to the other garden. These are onion transplants I put in about 2 weeks ago. Just keep them watered. They don't have big root systems. They're establishing, they look good. They're going to stay in the ground, obviously, through the winter with the idea that they'll take off in the spring and I will have beautiful onions. Turnips look good. Second round of peas look pretty good. Have this larger chicken wire around there. It's a little bit harder to see, you know, with the eye when you're at a distance, so I like using that for protection. The deer will chew those down, rabbits will get in there too. Sage, oregano, thyme, all looks beautiful. One of the gardens I was experimenting with the dates. The arugula on the right side looks good. Not much else. Some of the carrots on the far left look good, so I'm going to be removing the weekly planted stuff. Maybe I'll transplant it, but I'm going to be replanting in there. Probably will do some spinach. Right in here is my first, or actually my second wave of radishes. The first wave was right in there as I was showing you. They didn't form. There's lots of leafy greens there, but no root. I've been eating globe radishes out of here for the last couple of days. Nice and sweet, little spicy because we are getting that warm weather, but the cool weather's starting to roll in, so all the radishes I have planted everywhere should be absolutely delicious. Lots of carrots. Those are the shorter carrots, Danver variety maybe. Spinach tucked in there. There's some potatoes coming up. But I'm really happy with how the cool weather crops are starting to pop up. And I am looking forward to clearing out everything right here. All these jalapenos will be picked. They're going to be jarred. Poblanos will be cooked down and frozen. These are the potatoes growing that I planted, I think back in the beginning of August. So this is a late round of potatoes growing into the winter. So when a frost comes, it's going to damage these leaves and I'm going to pull out what's in there. But they have just exploded over the last 7 days with these 82-degree days. So I should have some nice baby potatoes in there. I mean, it looks really good. You can grow potatoes not just, you know, in spring when the soil can be worked. You can put successions in. More onions in there. This all has to be weeded out. I'll be harvesting some of my sweet potatoes as soon as the frost comes. I'm just going to let that grow and let them do their thing. I'm really happy with where I am with the garden right now. I mean, I have a watermelon in there. I got to get in there. It's starting to get a little mold on there and decompose. But great success with melons, cantaloupes, the pumpkins. They're going to probably all go in here. Even my globe artichokes are coming back, which is really nice, which means the roots are good. I'm going to mulch over them so that they get some protection in the winter, and hopefully I get the globe artichokes coming back, so I should be able to overwinter them. October is a great time to really reflect on your success. Think about what you enjoy about being out in the garden. Make plans, make changes, but the garden's always going to give something back to you. If you're just getting started, don't worry about the failures. Just stay focused on what you're learning. You're going to learn more every year. I've been learning for the last 40 years. There's always something new to learn. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And who knows, maybe next year I'll expand out a little bit more, see what else I can grow. Thanks for watching.